Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select Y-Wing Fighter. It's number 31 in the set and released in 2025. This vessel was first seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, released in 1977. Now, I always liked the Y-Wing. My first real experience with this vessel, besides seeing it in the films, was playing Rogue Squadron on the N64. Even though it was a little slow, I loved that you could launch bombs, you had the ion cannon, and it was just a lot of fun. So enough of me yapping. What I like to do with these ships in the box is go over the box, open it, check out that ship, look at the fine details, put it on a stand, check out that paint and other measurements, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, taking a quick look at the box. Up at the top we have number 31. We have the Rebellion symbol right here. We have a schematic of the Y-Wing, looking really cool. Then we have Star Wars. Beautiful looking ship. Can't wait to get this out of the box. Very detailed. It's got the thruster paint. Doesn't really look like it, but really nice. Oh man. So on the bottom we have Mattel Y-Wing Fighter, Hot Wheels Starship Select. Looking at this side, checking out the other side. The back, we have our stand, our ship on the stand. Other vessels in the collection. So far I looked at the Jedi Starfighter, the Chimera. These might be on the way. And this one should be coming shortly on the channel. Then we have a whole bunch of warnings and copyright crap. Oh boy. On the bottom of the box, my god, look at all that garbage. Tons of copyright stuff, recycling, all this jargon. Disney. So anyway, that does it for the box. Really neat. So let's crack this bad boy open. And then we'll get to that ship. Alright, so with these boxes, I do not keep them. So I'm just going to tear it open, and what happens, happens. Take this out. We'll yeet this. And we have our little box here. For those who don't know, these hold the stands. So we'll crack this open. Little empty box. We'll yeet that. We have our pylon. Looking good. The stand here. Little tissue paper. Everybody loves the sounds, I guess. I don't know. But then we have our base. Looking very nice. Very glossy. Love the insignia and the name. Fantastic. Some copyright crap on the back. But really cool. So let me put the stand to the side. We'll look at this later. And we'll look at the ship. So we'll remove this. Like all the ships so far, we have this nice cardboard backdrop, which is all the other ships in the collection. Or I should say the wave. So pretty nice. Cool. We'll yeet that too. Yeet. And then we'll look at this ship. There we go. We'll eat that plastic. And here we have our ship. So let's get a closer look. Having this bad boy out of the box, I was able to get some measurements and look at the fine details. And I have to say I'm very impressed with it. If I orient the ship this way, all I have to say is two things pop to me. The ion cannon and the support beams that hold the ion engines to the steering vanes. First, with the ion cannon, very detailed, and here's the best part. It can rotate all the way around. That is awesome. In the back for the steering vanes, these aren't made out of soft plastic like the laser cannons in the front. You know, they have a little give. These are strong plastic, and they are not moving. If I take my pen here and hit them, this is not moving. If I try to bend them, it doesn't want to go. Like, it would probably snap before it gives away. But these are strong And here's the coolest part. There's no plastic or acrylic or anything holding these beams in place, sort of. It's just all plastic. If I take this pen, you could just put it right through. There's nothing there, and I love that. Different companies like the Action Fleet or the Hot Wheels 30-inch version, they all have plastic holding these beams in, which if you can't use a harder plastic, you got to do what you got to do as a company to save money and make sure things don't break. But to have that where it's just the supports, for me, is a huge win because it's accurate to the film. I love that. And I didn't review the Micro Galaxy Squadron version yet, but if it's just like this, I'm sure in for a treat. So, I know I'm jumping the gun, but I just wanted to go over that. I think that's awesome. So, like in all my other videos, we're going to go over all the major parts of the ship, then get a nice close-up to see those fine details before we move on in the video. So we'll start in the front. We have our laser cannons in the front. Looking good. They are a softer material. We have our canopy, looking good. Our ion cannon. It's actually a turret, but it's awesome. I love the Y-wing. Such a great design. We have our astromech right there. In the back, we have our shield generator and also our hyperdrive engine. Looking dope. We have our little pylons that connect the body to the engines. We have our ion engines. Looking cool. Our auxiliary sensor arrays are behind these domes. The real sensor array is somewhere right here. We have our support stands and also our steering vanes, which look pretty good. I love the detailing on here. Very nice. And you can see they're all painted. We'll get a closer look in just a few, but really neat. On the bottom of the vessel, right here underneath the canopy, we have our torpedo launchers. Right here should be the bomb and chute, because this is a bomber as well. We have copyright crap. We have 4 rivets holding it together. And finally, a peg port for the stand. All in all, a very detailed vessel and a very beautiful one. So now, let's get a close-up look. Alright, having a closer look at the Y-wing, we'll begin where the canopy and the main portion is in the front. And I have to say I'm very impressed with the detailing. In the front here, we have our laser cannons, which at a distance just looks like 2 rubbery rods. But if you look close, you can see it does have detailing on there, which is very nice. Now the whole front here is like a rubber piece of plastic sandwiched in between the die-cast pieces, as you can see there. But not too bad. For the canopy section and the main front, we have some nice line work and raised modules all throughout. Now, the Hot Wheels paint does round everything out, so some of the detailing, as we'll see in the back, everything has this like rounded edge paint to it because of the enamel. But really nice detailing, very clean too. You can see the windows in the canopy are slightly recessed in, which I'm a big fan of that. And everything is painted pretty good. I like that very much. You can see the side here. Nicely done. Let's look at the other side real quick. You can see it is a little different. Pretty cool. I always love the canopy on the Y-wing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. For the ion cannon here, you can see there are 2 barrels, nicely detailed. And like I did say, it does rotate. And when you do rotate it, there is some elevated sections here painted on top of the canopy, which is pretty cool. And this rotates all the way around. But very nice. In the back, we do have molding as well, which looks pretty cool. Right here on the side, we can see some great detailing. Again, a lot of the detail is sort of lost by that enamel paint rounding everything out, but it is pretty cool. I do like that they did it. On the bottom, we have some nice line work, our torpedo launchers, And bomb and chute back here. Everything's looking very nice. Pretty cool. You can see all these little nooks and crannies. Just sort of rounded out. While we're down here, might as well just go back. We have a rivet in the front. Peg port here. Peg port on the aft. And you can see all these pipes and modules, nooks and crannies. The paint sort of rounds everything out, and you sort of lose a little bit of that detail. But you could tell it's there. It's just sort of covered like snow. Right here on the side, same thing. Very detailed, but sort of covered with that heavy paint. And on this side, you could see it. Still looks good, don't get me wrong. I'm just, explaining everything to you guys. On our pylon, very detailed. And if I turn it, you can see all these little nooks and crannies aren't flat. They're all sticking out, poking out, or sunken in. It's really nice. I like that quite a bit. For the bottoms of the engines, we have our rivet. And then you can see all the beautiful detailing going around. Especially right here in the sensor dome. Look at all that miniature detail in there. Pretty cool. And then coming up to the top. Just well done in my opinion. I think the detailing on here is pretty exquisite. Now as we go down, the steering vanes have a little molding on there. Nothing really to write home about. But in between them is where the real treasure is. We have our ion engines, and it looks fantastic. Look at that. There's the thruster. Looks pretty cool. Excellent. On the back, we have our steering vane, which is nicely detailed. We can see lots of little details around the side here. Raised sections and his modules going along. I think that came out amazing. And then for the actual back, you can see all the little fins. Pretty cool. Now the other engine is exactly the same. There's no differences. But again, nicely detailed around the main engine here. The interior, the thruster, everything looks fantastic. For the aft of the vessel, you can see we have this little wheel section here. Sort of reminds me of Trivial Pursuit, but beautifully done. We have our little pipes. Everything's there that should be. Looking good. All right, so moving back up to the top of the vessel, you can see some great detailing right here on the pylon. Looks fantastic. Same goes for the other pylon. Then we have our back of the vessel. And just look at all that stuff. If I tilt it, you can see just like the bottom, everything is sort of protruding out. And that's what I love about the Y-Wing. Like now we know it should have had armor, but back then, it just looked like somebody put it together real quick, and I think that's where the magic is. The world looked very lived in. Or I should say the galaxy looked very lived in. But coming down, we have this nice silver bits, the pipes, hoses, and different doodads. Our astromech looks amazing, nicely painted. No sensor or face on it, but the white and red do it justice. All in all, a very nicely done vessel, and I'm very impressed. And that does it for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. I tried to take my time with this to show everybody at home what the ship really has to offer. I'm very happy with this. I think it is a great looking vessel. And for those who are wondering, there is no detail on the back of the fins right here. It's just flat plastic, so that's why I didn't really spend time on it. But regardless, a beautiful ship. So now let's put this bad boy on a stand, look at the paint, other measurements, compare it, and then we'll be done. For the stand, we get two pieces. The first piece is a nice base. We can see the Rebel insignia, Y-Wing fighter with nice, beautiful silver paint with a glossy black base. Then we have Star Wars right here and Hot Wheels molded into the base. On the underneath, we have a bunch of copyright crap. The second piece we get is a pylon, and you attach it in like so. Hear that snap, and then all you have to do is get your vessel, peg it in like so. So tight fit on this bad boy. There we go. And just like that, you are good to go. Looking at the paint on the Y-Wing Starfighter, we have about 11 different colors. Light tan, light duck egg blue for the canopy, yellow, brown, white, red, dark gray, black, dark brown, silver, and a nice wash. For the ship's length, it comes in at 4.66 inches or 118.4 millimeters. Finally, for the ship's weight, it comes in at 2.6 ounces or 73.9 grams. And now for a quick size comparison with the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select Y-Wing Starfighter seen in the center. I have it next to some other Starships Select vehicles. First, on the right hand side, we have it next to the X-Wing Starfighter. And I believe, even though they're not in scale, they go great together on the shelf, especially with those stands. And finally, on the left-hand side, we have the Delta 7 Jedi Starfighter. On the box, it's identified as Obi-Wan Kenobi's ship, but on the base, it just says Delta 7. So, regardless of that, these are some amazing vessels. Maybe not in scale, but they look great nonetheless. The mold, the paint, the possible moving parts some of these have, all are fantastic. If you're a fan of the prequels, the originals, or even the sequels, check this line out. I think you'll be very impressed. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select Y-Wing Fighter. It's number 31 in the set and released in 2025. Why do I like this particular piece so much? Hot Wheels did a fantastic job with the detailing. From the supports, the steering vanes, all the way to the laser cannons and that ion cannon turret. Everything's there that should be. For the paint, we have 11 different colors all working together to really make something special here. And sure, the enamel paint sort of rounds everything out as we saw, and you sort of lose some of that definition, I guess is a good word. But all the detailing is there, it's just sort of blurred out because it's all around it. So again, nice job there. Wish we could use or find a different paint scheme, like one that could be a little darker and not sort of finish in that rounded edge, but it is what it is. I think this is still a great looking ship. We also had that great looking stand, that glossy black silver emblem and silver words really pop, and it really reminds me of the ground for the Imperial landing bays that are that nice glossy black. I love it. I like what they're going for there. So putting that in back of me, that's everything I have to say about this beautiful ship today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your hectic schedule and watching my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.